It is always a pleasure to be here. It is always a pleasure to know that very little of other people matter. Very little of them. We all, meaning other people, the same other people I'm talking about, all have our worth. We all have our worth, but it's like coin, right? If there is copper everywhere in the world, and your coinage is copper, that doesn't mean anything other than the worth of the copper itself. Because your coin has to be printed by the treasury of that nation. So it has worth within its own world that it is generated. It doesn't have worth outside of it unless there is an agreement of exchange rate. And that is how we interface with the world. You bring your value to new places and you strive to establish it. And you are functioning off of the reciprocation, if that's a word, the reciprocality of the other party to your value. It's just like, I am here doubloons. This is, the example. And some people, it's not within their talent or their place in life to have any use for doubloons. They need dollars, right? They need shekels. They need cows, right? But they don't need anything that you are or have to offer. And thus you are there by the graces of your likability, which ultimately means that when someone is done liking you, you can be offered up to their god for sacrifice. The scapegoat. And that's what happened to me. That's what happened to me. The altar of cheap comedy. As all of a sudden, my offbeat thoughts that I was playing around with knowingly that obviously the guys aren't big into it, but look, man, you gotta bring up something that's inherently a part of you here and there once in a while. Have a good tease at it, right? It's not that abhorrent to an audience, that's for sure. But when your deliberate choice is a personal attack, that's when you know, that's when it's revealed, right? I find it fascinating that just a few minutes before all that happened, I had made a statement about the Kvasir, because something was like the story of the Kvasir being torn apart by Gjallar and Fjalar, the Shouter and the Whisperer. Well, you know, my experience showed me exactly who Gjallar and Fjalar are, and the treachery has happened. And it only really matters in their world because I walk away and not one consequence of their actions or my actions have done harm to me. I mean, my ego is not even hurt. I have been betrayed and insulted, but people are acting like the insult was like some grave secret. Like people don't know my little situation, right? And so there's this conceptual implication that by drawing that out, you can remind people that if you feel threatened by what I say, just remind everybody that the person saying it is a loser, right? That's the idea. That's the implication. You're a loser. Everything you say is a loss. You know, I'm a fool in the court, you see, right? That was my function. I was there for, you know, for a good laugh, to be the butt end of a joke, allowing myself to be the butt end of a joke. I let people like that person bust my balls. I want them to bust my balls. I understand how that works. I do a little bit of the same damn thing. Don't care. Just wanted to have a good time at that point. Because, you know, the atmosphere was good on its own merits. But no. Instead of people saying, hey, listen, man, we don't think you have anything more to add for us, and we're not interested in whatever. No. Because you see, there isn't a serious distinguishment between the personal and the professionality of it. You know, just like by and large, especially if there isn't some guest. There isn't any fucking professionality. It's just friends hanging out in an atmosphere of interests. Just coherent people with something relevant to say that they're pulling from their particular world. And, you know, I was under the impression for a hot minute that this was about the value that other worlds bring to other people. And, well, you know, I suppose they maybe went through an evaluation period and said, you know, Steve's world, no matter. Don't matter to us. Well, we're not going to tell him. We're not going to tell him that. We don't respect him enough to tell him that. But we're not going to tell him that we're done respecting him in general when he brings it up. We're going to be merciless and we're going to personally attack him. Let it happen. And then before the man can stand on his 2 feet to defend himself, we're going to act like it didn't happen. And act like it was totally okay. The meaning of what did happen. And as long as he doesn't get to set the record straight about what he meant by what he said, justified in how we treat the person, and that's what happened. And that's supposed to crush me. That is supposed to devastate me. That is supposed to make me give up on everything I'm doing, or ignore it as I carry on in a sad kind of way. Or just it gets revealed that how I carry on is just a sad way. Right? And it's meant to be a curse, it's meant to be a poison. It's meant to be a crusher. We are seeing Skoll trying to swallow the moon. Treachery. Yeah. Wolf of treachery. Weaponizing shame. In order to cloud my mind, cloud my judgment, to hurt my pride, right? Is there hate there too? Where's Hatzi? Where's the hatred? Is it just treachery, or is it also hatred? Do you hate me? I doubt it. Right? I doubt it. This is a laugh. It's a heckling. But I am sure that now that the shouting is over, there's been plenty of whispers. Galler has done his job. Maybe he comes back. And now Fjalar. Now Fjalar is the spirit in the air. And that works perfectly well amongst those that aren't the target. These little spirits that want to rip you of your essence. Tear you apart. And then take the power from in you and turn it into something quantifiable for consumption. And we all know how things turned out for Galler and Fjalar. And we all know what end the essence of the Kvasir met, ultimately. And I'd say that if that is the fate of my essence, then I am in good hands. Whether by fire or Allfather. And so I am not going to let someone else's standards of dignity, respect, and manhood put me down as I go through my own goddamn growth process by my standards. I looked at myself one day and said, I need higher standards for myself. I need to set something that I am not and strive to achieve it. People have been watching me for years and watching me go through all that. And the things that I am fixing about my life on the back end, which is not of particular interest to anybody else, that gets mentioned from time to time as a side note in my other commentaries. That stuff takes a while before I'm able to deliver other things on my end. But, you know, if people have a certain expectation of delivery, then they need to fucking say it. Be like, Steve, listen, you're my friend, but you're not going to be my friend in 2 years unless you start doing all these things that we do and start doing them together with us. Otherwise, you know, I don't think that you are an honorable man at all. I don't think you're trustworthy at all. I can't respect you. Right? And so you try to use your social clout, because then at that point it's a social clout thing. It's like, I don't want to be your friend, and if you want to be my friend, you can't be his friend either. Because that's what you're trying to accomplish when you publicly make a personal attack on an individual. And you made a personal attack on somebody who's been personally attacked so many fucking times that I'm not shocked. I'm just disappointed. Really just disappointed that you revealed yourself to be of that character. And so, hey, you know, it's alright. If only we could read the Have 'Em All and have more wisdom. But, you know, we're not very good at reading, are we? We're illiterate in a sense. It takes us 30 seconds to orate something that is just a couple lines. And so maybe you just feel insulted because there's some sort of a mental inferiority. That me and my big brain and not your world experience makes you feel threatened because there's a worlds collide about things that are just such a shameful embarrassment for you, and your immediate inkling is to react with an equivalent psychological projection. And I think that's what's going on. I think that's what's going on. And anybody who wants to say anything about it, you know, you can feel free to speak wherever you can speak about it. You can confront me publicly. This was a thing that happened in the public. And it's a thing that should be settled in the public. It's interesting how I went through this before. And it didn't resolve differently, but it did resolve. And it makes me suspicious as to what really was going on when that happened. And I think that maybe it's coming together. Yeah. So I think that maybe it's coming together because there's somebody who was different, who things were a little nasty, but then they smoothed over as this inexplicable misunderstanding. But I was happy about it because at least there was a kind of clarity of the issue, an understanding of a misunderstanding, and a kind of reconciliation. And hey, look, at the end of the day, I could just be a badly behaved boy. And I get everything that's coming to me. Very well. Very well. I am not going to allow these circumstances to cast doubt on my instincts, my intuitions, and the guidance of my heart. Not for a fucking second. And regardless of whether there's an internet or not, regardless of whether there's networks as such or not, there will always be a social order of things, a social hierarchy that exists wherever people are connected are. Whether that be your social media groups, your actual in-person clubs, part of Patreon communities, etc., etc. Wherever you're investing your time, your money, and all that, there's going to be social hierarchies and dynamics. And you can have whatever value you want in that world, whatever you think you are, whatever you think it is. What I think is that it's about time for me to get to work. So I'll catch you later, and you can expect me to keep kicking ass everywhere I go. Catch you later.